Well, there's just one more character I want to introduce to you, and his name is Joe Starita. Say hi to Joe Starita. He's over here. This guy's a former reporter and author and a former professor at the UNL College of Journalism. I won't have you say hi to Sherry again. When he heard about Ivan or Iwan and what Ivan and his wife were doing, and he's going to introduce his wife, so we won't call her in. He said, we got to help raise some money. And that's the story that you're going to hear today, is how all of this came together. There are more people than I've told you about that are involved in this story. So I want you to, Ivan and John, you can head on up to the podium, and you're going to hear a phenomenal story about the Child of Light Orphanage in Ukraine. Give them a Rotary welcome. Come on, stand up and give them a welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Iwan. I'm one of the 4 directors of the nonprofit called the Child of Light. Today, I want to share my story with you. It's really a story of connections, like Randy said, of families, friends, and in many cases, what might seem like chance encounters and communities coming together. When those connections united around this common purpose, amazing things have happened. I would be doing a disservice if I didn't acknowledge just how much each person's role has mattered along the way so far. Deepest gratitude to each one of you. Standing before this Rotary Club is especially meaningful to me because Rotary has had such a profound influence in my life. I was born and raised in Moldova, which is a small country in Eastern Europe between Romania and Ukraine. More than 20 years ago, I was blessed with an incredible opportunity to come to Lincoln, Nebraska as a Rotary Youth Exchange student at Lincoln Christian High School. That life-changing experience was made possible through the generosity and support of Rotary 14, and it's something that I'll always carry with me. So thank you so much, Rotary, and thank you so much to Harlow Hyde, who we said hello to already. After my first year as an exchange student, having worked hard academically and embraced the American culture, I was given the opportunity to come back to Lincoln Christian High School and graduate with a U.S. high school diploma. The achievement opened the door for me to attend the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, where I studied finance, earned a bachelor's degree, and later on an MBA. However, most importantly, during my time at UNL, I met my beautiful wife, Anna. Say hi to Anna, she's over there. She is originally from Ukraine, and her family immigrated to Lincoln in the late 1990s. Together, we have 4 children ranging from 15 to 4 years old. Those are some of the photos that we have there of our children. Our shared journeys, mine from Moldova and Anna's from Ukraine, have not only shaped who we are, but also the passion and purpose behind the work we're committed to doing for children in Ukraine today. Deepest gratitude and thank you to Lincoln Christian as well for the opportunity that I had to come back and get on this journey. About a year ago, Mikola and Elena made a very tough decision. Say hi to Mikola and Elena, they're over there. In the middle of the war, they chose to return to Ukraine with their 4 kids to serve their people during the hardest time of their lives. Both of them were born in Ukraine, and when the full-scale invasion began, their hearts were stirred with a deep passion to help. At first, Mikola traveled back and forth to Poland, helping refugees with free transportation. But as the number of refugees slowed down, he shifted his focus. He began raising funds to provide Ukrainian soldiers with high-quality American tourniquets, chest seals, and first aid kits. He even made several trips to the front line to deliver those supplies. And after seeing the situation there firsthand, he came back realizing that the need was far greater than what he had imagined. That's when he and Elena decided they couldn't simply stand by. They felt called to devote their time and energy to make a difference. And today, just 1 year later, they are living in a small village only about 20 minutes from the construction site of an orphanage that will soon become home of up to 30 children. They are the boots on the ground. They're overseeing the constructions and making sure progress continues every day. It has been an incredible honor for my family to join them in this faith journey. Together, we started Child of Light, a US-based nonprofit to support this work. And by the way, Elena and my wife Anna are cousins. Elena and her mom immigrated to the US due to family ties with my wife. So another amazing connection story. Next, I want to tell you a little bit regards the state-run institutions. The reality is that it's very difficult to get a clear picture of life inside these, what life is like inside these institutions. Visitors are not allowed to take photographs. A lot of what we know comes from personal testimonies and rare glimpses. What we do know is heartbreaking. Basic needs such as proper bedding, clothing, and nutritious meals are often lacking due to chronic underfunding. Many children grow up with deep loneliness, little individual attention, and emotional wounds from abandonment or losses caused by the war. Education is another challenge. Access to quality schooling is inconsistent. Many facilities lack both materials and qualified teachers. Perhaps the most difficult of all, once children turn 16 to 18 years of age, they're forced to leave these orphanages. They're not set up with life skills, no support system, and they have nowhere to go, so a lot of them become vulnerable to homelessness, exploitation, and crime. On the slide here, you'll see on the bottom left corner, there's a Ukrainian blogger, a young mother who adopted 2 children herself. She dedicated her life to exposing the real living conditions and mistreatments of orphans in Ukraine. Next to her profile is a real photo of her shower in a state-run orphanage, and in the second image, you'll see a typical dormitory where children have to crawl over one another just to reach their beds. This ignited a mission for us to create a home where every child is valued and loved, a place where kids are wanted, taken care of, and have a hope for a better future. We want to focus on providing them a shelter, investing in their education, being there for emotional support, mentorship, and helping make a lifelong difference and investing in their future. We are a US-based nonprofit organization from Lincoln, Nebraska, and we are partnering proudly with a dedicated Ukrainian nonprofit. Our mission is to raise funds to support the ongoing constructions and long-term operations of the Child of Light Orphanage, ensuring that every child that we take in has a safe and loving home. On this slide, you can see some of the stakeholders who are part of this project. This team includes families, individuals from both the US and Ukraine. And I want you to know that every dollar that we have raised so far and we're going to raise goes straight into building this orphanage. None of it goes to salaries or overhead. This is simply people giving their time, energy, and hearts to make this dream a reality. In 2014, members of the current Ukrainian nonprofit learned about a private Christian orphanage that operated differently than the state-run institutions. It demonstrated that despite existing regulatory challenges, it's possible to create a safe and healing environment for vulnerable children. Construction of our own facility began in 2020, and it's now approximately 80% complete. The building is a 3-story, 8,000 square foot structure designated to accommodate up to 30 children. The project is well organized and transparent, modeled after a sister orphanage, and will be run by local staff. And there on this slide, you can see the timeline and the progress through the years. What's unfolded over the past year has really been a powerful chain of connections and compassions from everybody that's been involved. While Anna and I have been working diligently here in the US, sharing this story, building support for this project, we haven't yet had the opportunity to visit the site. But in April of 2025, 5 Nebraskans were able to travel there and witness the impact firsthand. Tom Brewer, the state senator, Don Hutchins, executive director of Nebraska Corn Board, and John Greenwald, a KETV news reporter, along with Elena and Mikola Chucha, were there together in Ukraine. This photo is taken in front of the orphanage that we're building. This felt like a powerful milestone for all of us. I'd like to invite John to share his experience from that trip and offer his perspective on what it means to witness this project firsthand.
Thank you, Iwan, and thank you, all of you, for having us here to present on this. I want to start with a video because this is, it's a video that aired at KETV. This is the Lincoln Rotary Club, so I assume many of you guys didn't catch this. So this is a series I put together that aired last month from this most recent trip. It's called Wounds of War.
Human cost from Russia's war on Ukraine is staggering. Millions have fled. Hundreds of thousands live in temporary housing.
KETV News Watch 7's John Greenwald took an independent trip there in the spring. He shines a light on the plight of civilians in this third part of his series, Wounds of War.
Sirens drown the silence of night and wail through the afternoon. They're often ignored. How can a people live forever in fear?
This is a rescue operation.
Our first night in Kyiv, the city is rocked by missile attacks. A dozen die in a two-story apartment.
And there is a school right next to it.
As teams dig through the rubble and reporters cast it to the world, I wonder how many more broken windows, how many more flowers left at fresh-made memorials.
It could be my family. It could be your family. It could be any family in Nebraska and the United States, but it ends up being a Ukraine family. And they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't deserve this.
Nearly 60 died in this apartment in Izium earlier in the war. The blown-apart building, now a haunting time capsule of life.
Teddy bear.
Before the killing began.
I don't have any possessions. Everything get destroyed.
Those who survive, like Ruslan and his son Maxim, join the ranks of the millions of refugees and internally displaced people. IDPs seek shelter in places like this Kharkiv hotel. They, along with everyone else in Ukraine, live out contradictions. Surrounded by shopping malls, flea markets, and tourist-trapping caricature artists, rubble and sullen monuments. Children feel that dissonance too. Military chaplain Gennady Mokhnenko has run a refuge for orphans and kids from broken homes for years. That was first in Mariupol, pincered by the Russian army in its opening salvo.
Officer called me and told me, Pastor, you must evacuate your children home immediately. It was like competition between Russian tanks and my convoy with women and children.
Mokhnenko, normally on the front, carrying a rifle in one hand and a Bible in the other. But this trip, I follow him to his Carpathian mountain refuge, Republic Pilgrim, set up as an escape for the kids. Facilities to play and pray and learn remotely amid the calm forests and streams. One place that hits even closer to home because it's being funded in part by Nebraskans, the Child of Light Orphanage, going up outside Kyiv. I visited a fundraiser in Lincoln back in April.
There's a lot more kids who have become orphaned. Definitely the need is there and it's bigger than ever. We can't wait for the war to stop to be able to do something.
Then I went to the budding facility. As you can see, still a lot of work to be done in the interior, but the team is hoping to have it all completed by this September. 30 to 35 orphans will live in bedrooms just like this one. Elena Chucha and her family have called Lincoln home for years. Now they're helping make a home for children who've fallen through the cracks of a system buckling under the weight of existential war. Better for the kids, she says, to stay despite the danger so Ukraine can find its own horizon.
Any child is our future, and the way we will raise these kids, mentor these kids, that will be our future.
That orphanage set to open this fall. Reporting for KETV News Watch 7, I'm John Grunwald.
I want to share with you just a little bit about what life is like for Ukrainians. We, of course, are familiar with the dazzling, boisterous headlines about sieges of cities and constant bombings. And that is all true. This is what they deal with. But they also have to live life every day. They do what you and I do every day. They wake up and they have to feed kids in the groggy morning. They have to weave through traffic to go to work. They have to pay the bills that are piling up. There's no stopping there. And yet they still have to face this constant terror of drones, of tanks, of artillery, of planes flying overhead, of missile attacks that can strike at any moment. And that's really the contradiction that I was mentioning there, that they live out this contradiction every day of finding ways to continue to make life beautiful despite that. They practice this and yet, right? They face all this brutal horizon, and yet they rise, and yet they find beauty. One of the things that I noticed in my 4 trips to Ukraine, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the kind of terror that a tornado can leave in its wake, kind of just flattens a city. It unbecomes a city, essentially. It goes back to what it was. War does a very different thing with architecture. There's an architecture of terror where rather than flattening, it sharpens. It takes the rebar and makes it jagged teeth. These buildings become sharper and more aggressive around it. And that's what these people are surrounded with every day. It's an ecosystem of despair. So many times when I was going through Ukraine, you see pictures like this of a playground next to a destroyed apartment. In the video, there are teddy bears in this apartment that has been mostly destroyed. So they're constantly surrounded by this ecosystem of despair. But again, and yet, they cultivate gardens, they live life, they find ways to make beauty. So one particular example of this that I think really illustrates this point is this town of Orphanage. Right now, and for the last really 3 years, it's been about 5 to 10 miles from the front on any given year. So it is in constant artillery range and constant drone range. This is a community that was about 10,000 people before the war started. And by the time I went the first time, it shrunk to just a couple hundred, right? There was this shelter, this humanitarian aid depot, that was kind of the one shining light of what Orphanage used to be before the war began. It's where people could go to find this clean, well-lit place. They could take showers, they could wash their clothes, they could sit with people. They could even, as we went with a group of chaplains, one of them brought a saxophone along and had an impromptu kind of dance session where Tom Brewer, State Senator Tom Brewer, who was earlier mentioned, was twirling one of the aid workers. A really lovely display of his ballroom dancing skills. That was a really beautiful note amidst this ruin. Then 2 weeks after we left, we found out that it had been hit by a Russian glide bomb, and dozens of people were buried in the rubble. Dozens of people killed. People that I saw, people in that photo on the left side were killed in that attack. That's what it looks like on the right, what it looks like afterwards. One of the things I most noticed in Orphanage is the sound you experience there. For the time that, when I visited, for that whole year of the war, none of these people in these frontline towns had heard the sound of children laughing. That medicinal sound of children playing and laughing. Instead, you heard bombs, you heard distant artillery, sometimes not so distant artillery. You heard the sound of the shovel hitting the dirt to dig another dead body. Those are the noises you hear in Orphanage. No more children laughing. And what I see in this project, my visit to Child of Light, is a return of children laughing in Ukraine. Because to help these kids laugh through all this trauma of war, you need a strong community with strong values, strong people doing the work. And what I saw there was certainly that. And beyond that, I'm so amazed how Nebraskans have taken it on themselves to be part of this solution, to be part of building this future, because an orphanage is the ultimate and yet. These kids, they come from broken families, they come from having no families at all, and yet the society says, we care about you and we're going to raise you up. So this is truly the ultimate and yet that Ukraine is displaying. It's so beautiful to see Nebraskans taking part in that. And I would encourage you to continue to care for the people in Ukraine. We can't afford to look away, even as this continues on and on with no end in sight. The surest thing we can do here is to continue to care. Thank you.
I'm here today not only to share our vision, but also want to extend the invite to be part of it. Just as Rotary once invested in me as a student, I ask you to not wait and consider investing in these children who are part of the future of Ukraine. We're almost at the finish line. Construction is about 80% complete. We are tentative to open the doors by the end of the year. The immediate needs that we have is a bomb shelter. Unfortunately, we have to have it. The cost for it, based on the number of children and requirements, we're needing to raise about $80,000. The second initiative that we have in the US is to get $325 per month donors signed up who would be contributing towards this project. Our current donors who have donated so far, definitely we thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. As you can see there, we have had to date about 80 plus individuals, 7 businesses, 2 foundations, and 2 churches who have come together to help raise funds and get this building to about 80% complete. A special call out to Constantine, John, and Penny, and our rock star Joe Starita over there. Thank you so much, Randy, for the opportunity to be here today. We couldn't have done it alone. Together, we know that it's possible to achieve this and to be able to really have a tangible investment in the future of these children. The Lozier Foundation was a huge blessing through Joe to us, and we're super grateful for the investment that they made in this project. And how some other ways that you can help that we ask is to share with friends and family and other businesses. Follow our Facebook page for progress. We try to continuously update with photos and latest. You can donate through our American website. We have a link over there. And the last but not least, we invite everybody to visit Ukraine and be able to see this in person and be able to work with us on this. Rotary, once again, from the bottom of our heart, from all 4 of us, Child of Life directors who are here, we appreciate the opportunity and we appreciate each one of you. Thank you so much.